Okay. I'm ready.
You're the cutest, I swear.
No, I'm just gonna say, isn't it like a miracle that we all are not like free at this very moment?
Yeah.
Correct.
It's very
like,
rare.
This is a unicorn kind of thing because never happens. So you can let me know when you're ready to record. Oh, okay, great. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of The Life of a Makeup Artist. I am your host, Jaleesa Jaikaran, and we have a very special episode today. I have not one, not two, but three amazing makeup artists joining us today. And it's very special because they are peers of mine that I greatly respect, and they are all women of color that are literally killing it in the industry right now. And I see them as an inspiration, and I'm very happy that we are all free at the same time. I'm just saying that this moment has been blessed by God, and I am greatly excited. So I want to introduce you to our guests. We have Mimi, Quiquine.
Quiquine.
Quiquine? Okay, I was almost there.
You're nearly there.
Quiquine.
Yeah.
Fatimot, Isadare, and Alana Wright.
Hello.
So I'm going to let these beautiful ladies introduce themselves and give us a little bit about who they are. And Mimi, do you want to start?
I guess I have to start. So hi, I'm Mimi. God, I'm always like so awkward at these things. So I'm originally from London. I live here now. I've been doing makeup for like 6 years now, and every day is a work in progress.
I feel that.
Hi.
It's fine.
I knew my mind would go blank. Like, but,
You're like, wait, who am I?
hi, I'm Fatima, and I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. And I've been doing makeup for 11 years, 7.5 here in New York. And I predominantly work in like commercial and fashion.
Cute. Hi, this is Hi,
It's happening.
Yeah.
We'll get used to it.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Alana Wright. I am a makeup artist here in New York City. Been doing makeup since high school. I'm not going to, well, yes, it's been 19 years since high school. But started at a benefit counter in Detroit and worked for MAC for 7.5 years. And I've been freelance since 2011 with, it's like 9 years.
Wow.
I'm just happy to be here, covered by the blood.
Yep.
Hey, I love that. So we're going to be discussing a few topics today, but what I wanted to start with is the Met Gala. It was my first Met yesterday.
Same.
Congratulations.
Mimi, it was
Yeah,
your first
same.
Met.
I first met like with my own personal client. Yes.
Yes.
All accomplishments.
Yay,
Yeah.
congrats. And Alana, this
Congratulations.
is your third or fourth?
No, second.
Oh, second.
Yeah.
So congratulations to everyone. So I just wanted to get a recap of, your looks and what you do. I think, Alana, you might have had the craziest day because you had multiple looks. But
was a
tell us a
very-
little bit about your second Met Gala.
It was a very ambitious day for one person. But yesterday, my clients were Aurora James of Brother Belly. She's a creative director, which is a sustainable accessories brand based here in Brooklyn. And her theme was Swahilian notes on camp. Because, of course, the theme was based on, what was the woman's name? Susan, the woman who wrote the essay about notes on camp in 1964. That's the whole thing. Basically, was saying, like, camp is, like, exaggerated, can't be natural.
Oh,
so
okay.
her whole take was, who says camp can't be natural? Black people are naturally camp. You can find camp in the wild. Like,
Yeah.
an orchid is a naturally camp flower that just happens to do its own thing. So her dress was handmade entirely of like raffia and rattan, and she had it made by like different artisans and sourced all these things. And so she had this like 3-tiered raffia skirt and this basket weaved bodice and like a raffia crown. It was really, really cool.
Wow.
So as opposed to like doing like the extravagant and like the campiest look we can come up with, we actually went with like a naturally camp kind of thing. Did like just very minimal makeup, glowy skin, lashes, of course. But it was really, really cool. And I'm really proud to have been on that team because
She looked amazing.
yeah, you know, she stood out in her own way. Did
Yeah.
it on her terms
Yeah.
and acknowledged, the origins of a lot of, style in this world, which is Black people, and celebrated that. So,
Yeah.
My other client, my second client, was Elaine Roth, who is one of the judges on Project Runway, former editor in chief of Teen Vogue.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a correspondent on the Fashion Police on E! News. And she had like this really extravagant Christian Siriano gown, and it was all black. And she had like
Those sleeves are beautiful.
the sleeves were like really billowy and pretty, and she had this Jennifer Bear like gold tiara.
Mm-hmm.
And I freestyled that joint. Didn't have a test.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we I didn't want to do a wing liner.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want it to be wing.
Because there are different types of liners.
There's
that exist
different
in the
types of
world.
liners, guys. There's different
Just
ways of
FYI,
doing
right?
things. FYI, it's more than one way to skin a cat. So I just did like this glitter truncated liner that had rounded corners and just did some stones like in the inner crease.
Yeah.
And just gave her some lashes. I used these new lashes from. Have you guys heard of Lashify?
No.
I've seen it on yours, and I think Jessica posted about them too. And I'm like,
Truth.
Lashify?
I sound like an infomercial. Let me stop.
no,
never
we
heard
need
of
to
it.
know.
So it's this lash system, right? This woman created.
Is it the Magnum one?
No, it's like it's this like system she made, like these different densities and lengths, like how like lash extensions, but they come in like little round things. But it's not like, oh, this is for one eye and this is the other eye. It's like you can
So
customize
you kind
it.
of freestyle, like
You can
create
freestyle.
the lashes.
It comes with this little tweezer with the silicone edge, so you can.
Press it.
But the adhesive is like a liquid liner
Oh.
applicator, and it goes underneath, as opposed to
What?
on top, and you can get nice longevity out of them. So anyway, we did those lashes. But I just
Neat.
love.
I'm like, this is all new to me.
Me too. I went to the thing the other day. I was like sold. I didn't buy it, but sold. And thank you, Lashify. But Elaine had a second look. So after she wrapped E, she changed into a Pamela Rowland feathery silvery gown, and it was like a Diana Ross inspired situation, and it was really cool. I had a lot of fun. I would do it again.
Yeah.
Multiple clients.
I love the rhinestone look because I'm from Trinidad, and that's how when I first started learning to do makeup, it was rhinestones, glitter, and every color.
Absolutely.
You
That you
like
could think.
went there.
So when I saw feathers on the pink carpet and
Yes.
like rhinestones, I'm like, yes, Lord.
Why not? This is the time. This is to me that camp. That was the perfect theme to like really like
To go there.
to go there. According to your client,
Yeah,
of course.
of
But
course.
like
Yeah.
have fun.
Yeah, because
Not
my
take it too
client,
serious.
we actually did pretty natural, simple makeup. She wanted to exude power.
And she looked
So
great.
thank you. And like her outfit and everything was like more of the star, and we kept her makeup pretty simple. And her name is Sinead Burke. She's amazing. Like she activist, and she just wrote an article for Vogue UK, and it's pretty amazing.
Nice.
But I want to hear more about you too, Fatima.
So yeah, for yesterday for the Met Gala, I did Lindsay Peoples Wagner, who's now the current editor-in-chief at Teen Vogue. And yeah, it was cool. Like I kind of got her as a last-minute client. I met her at an event about a week and a half ago.
Oh wow.
And I just like sent her a message the next day, like, it was cool to finally like just connect with you, because I had seen her before. Like, it's not many Black people in fashion, so we kind of, even if we don't all know each other, we see each other sometimes. So I went up to her and I sent her a message the next day, and then she like responded. And she was like, I know this is last minute, but like, can you do my makeup for Met Gala? And I was like, yeah, no problem.
What time?
Yeah, so I'm just like, of course I can do your makeup. And yeah, she's like a very natural kind of girl. So we kept her makeup simple, pretty. I wanted to do a red eye on her, but she was, a little hesitant. So like I mixed like red and a coral and like a blue liner. So we just kind of played with some. Her dress was silver with a bunch of different color ruffles on it, and she had like rhinestone earrings. So just kind of played with some color to just like make her look pretty and have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about you, Mimi?
So, am I supposed to be looking at you?
Anywhere, doesn't matter.
I'm always just like, what am I doing?
You can look at Jaleesa.
No, so
Look
I.
into my eyes. Let me take off my glasses.
Yeah, that helps actually. So I'm like, where are they? No, so I did makeup on this writer-director called Nia DaCosta. She's from Brooklyn. She recently directed a film called Little Woods. And she hit me up maybe like 4 days ago. In my mind, I'd like checked out. I was like, okay, cool, Monday, I'm not doing anything. And then she hit me. I'm just like, cool, I guess I'm working. But she had this like head-to-toe Chanel outfit. It was like she was kind of going for like a yeehaw kind of theme, wearing like an overall, this like silver straw hat, and then these like crazy, like amazing silver boots I need to remember the name of. And then for makeup, what we did, I said to her, like, let's do like this really like grand silver crease. And then we had these like crazy lashes that I like coated with loads of mascara, bottom and top, to kind of go for, because the whole with the straw hat, we were like kind of tying into that kind of theme, so made the eyelashes look like black straw. So they had like these eyelashes that came out like this on the top and the bottom. They were kind of crazy. And then we did like a cute nude lip, but she's somebody that doesn't wear makeup at all, so I was really kind of like, I'm just gonna do this, just trust me, it's gonna be cute. And she let me like completely play.
It's always nice when they trust you.
It's so nice when they trust you.
So now that we're like talking about products, I want to know, what is one favorite product that you have right now that's new? We know Alana's is Lashify, so. But what is one new product that you just started using that you fell in love with?
I have a product. It's not makeup though. Like I pride myself in skincare. Like I do love makeup,
that's
but
still beauty.
I'm just gonna So there's this brand called Go-To, and they're like minimal like products in their skincare line, and they sent me a bunch of stuff. But they have this oil called Skin Hero, and it's like a blend of all these amazing oils, and I've been using it, and it's just been like bringing my whole face back to life. And I use it like on set as well, and it's just like perfect, especially in this like transitional period where we're kind of going into summer. I love it, so I'd highly recommend it to all of you.
Miss Fatima.
I'm like, new product. Can I do an old product that I kind of like rediscovered that I'm liking again?
Of course. We always forget that. We're like, oh wait, this is in my kit, and this feels like new makeup.
Right. Actually, it's the Kevin Aquan skin.
Skin glass? The glass skin?
The skin enhancers, right?
Really?
Like,
What's that?
yeah, it's
Tell
like
me
a
more,
really,
because I don't feel like I love them.
well, I think for me, like, I've been having like some issues like with foundation, so I've been using it kind of like just in the center of my face, like concealer kind of thing. But because like all the foundation I've been trying lately looks very orange or like very red on me.
Yeah.
And that stuff looks kind of neutral. So yeah, I don't know. It's just something I like discovered that I've had for years, like rediscovered, and I've been liking it.
There's so many things, but I'm gonna cheat.
Okay, tell me.
That Kevin Aquan glass skin line.
Is it?
I'm like, what is it?
what
Tell
is
me.
Like
that?
a highlighter.
Oh wait, did you put that on your hand on Insta stories sometime?
No.
I think I saw
But I
somebody
have
else
seen
post
someone do that.
post about it today.
That joint is nice.
And it's a highlighter.
Is a highlighter?
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a highlighter. Then they also have lip gloss too,
I never tried it.
and it's really, really pretty.
Is it like a balm?
It's in a looks like the Nars Illuminator, but it has a pump on it.
Oh, it's a balm.
But and it's like you just lay it flat, and then Chantecaille Future Skin Foundation.
Ooh, never tried. Never even heard about it.
That joint.
Ooh.
It's like, so it's in a jar and it's a cream, but it's actually a gel cream and it's oil free, but it gives radiance and it's buildable. But it looks just like skin.
Oh, I saw you using it on
Ooh,
set
it's good.
one time.
Let's
Yeah.
write this down.
Yeah, everyone record this. Chantecaille Future Skin. It's so good.
I'm gonna cheat. Because mine is actually a hair product, which is
Okay, put me on.
Come
Sorry.
over, Alana.
Me?
You come up a little.
Okay.
So I'm actually gonna cheat. Mine is Wells Beauty. So mine is a hair product.
Okay.
It's the Mazzani. They have an anti-frizz spray. And the fact that my blowout is lasting me more than 2 weeks, because last year I only blew my hair out once, and I had to cut my hair, so I blew it out. And I've been using this anti-frizz spray, and nothing I've ever used has worked.
Really?
And this is like a
2
miracle.
weeks?
like I've never been able to curl my hair and walk outside and it not turn like a fro.
Yeah.
Are you straightening it again, or are you gonna go back to your curly hair?
Oh no, I'm gonna go back to my curly hair. I'm just like
You go back
Let me
before.
just-
It was just
yeah,
nice
let
to
me
like.
just- yeah, it's all fun. Like
Yeah.
you have fun
Enjoying
for a
it.
week and then or 4 days because it's been raining. So I'm really like that Mazzani product
This
is like.
withstood the rain.
Well, some days I wrapped it up. I was like, no.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. And then what do you so a lot of people, like especially I'm sure you guys have gotten this question a lot because we are working women of color in the beauty industry. A lot of people ask us what are our favorite foundations and concealers and stuff for women of color, people of color, anybody. So I would start. I've been loving the Bobbi Brown Skin Longwear Foundation. I only had 2 colors, and I bought them for me. And one day I had a client, and I was like, you know what? Let me just take these because she's like around my shade. The foundation is magical. Have you used it?
Yeah, it's a beautiful formula.
It's like skin,
But
but
it's
you
good.
could.
I need to look into it.
No, you
Because
do.
I really actually need to like get a bunch of new foundations. I feel like I've not been loving stuff, and all my stuff's just kind of like, I want to try some new stuff. So I have to get some
you should try it.
recommendations.
And even if I tried like building on it, and I was just like, I'm not sure if it would look heavy. It didn't look heavy
It's a
at all.
good one.
It's
What's
a
it
good one.
called?
Bobbi Brown Skin Longwear Foundation. So I actually only have 2 shades right now, and like I'm gonna try and get at least 10 because
Bobby.
it's the bomb.
Yeah.
What about you, Mimi? Like your favorite complexion product?
I really like Laura Mercier. They have like I think it's called Candlelit Glow Foundation, something like that.
That was nice.
yeah,
I
have
love
that
that
one.
because I feel like it's super light. You can like build it. It's not obviously matte. And I think everything Laura Mercier, like foundation and concealer wise, I'm in love with. I like kind of, it's like my go-to.
I've never tried any of her foundations.
I've tried
I
them.
love the Secret Camouflage. That's my OG,
Yeah.
but like I haven't dived into anything else.
No, I would definitely recommend. And like, what else is really good? Everything's really good from them.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Fatima? Even though you're like in a foundation complexion crush.
One of the ones I tried recently was the Dior. Is it Backstage Foundation or Face and Body?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I like that one. And what else?
That's pretty good. I used
That
it
was a
only
good
once.
one.
Yeah, that one. I like when I was just working into the skin. It goes on like super smooth. Like the coverage is nice. What? I don't know.
You like Flesh?
I do like the Flesh. Yeah, you're right. See. Thanks for helping me, Alana.
And then-
I'm like, I have so much stuff.
And then what about you, Alana? I know you mentioned the Chantecaille, but
Yeah, that joint. Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer is like a
OG.
tried and true
Oh, yeah.
situation.
we're all like,
Yeah.
let the church say amen.
Sponsor us, Nars. Hello.
Nars, holler
Knock,
at us,
knock.
please. The Radiant Creamy Concealer, I really, really like. I have a lot of foundations that I need to really just rediscover and figure out their own color systems and ranges.
Yes.
So I can be like, oh, she's blah, 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 let me dig that out or whatever. But I do like the Flesh Beauty Thick Stick foundations. They're great for men's grooming too because they're just like nice, literally a natural finish. They're not matte, they're not shiny, they're not greasy, they're stiff. They're like a little bit softer than the Secret Camouflage. It's not as dry as that, but it's in that same family where a man can put it on and it's seamless blending. It's really, really nice. I like the Dior. I have a list. I like the Dior Backstage Face and Body. I like the Armani Luminous.
What do you guys think about foundation right now in the beauty industry? Because I feel like there's every time I wake up, there's a new brand with a new foundation line, and some of the brands I'm like, why?
Yeah,
I feel like brands are like making up for lost time.
true.
Like I feel like it's like right and everybody's like, oh my god,
Like a
fuck,
deadbeat
we've
mom.
missed out.
Yeah. Because like, so, after the Fenty effect, everybody feels as though they need to catch up. While I think it's admirable, I'm just like, do we need 200 shades?
I just
I
feel
mean, a
like-
lot of the shade colors is like you have 40 shades or whatever, but a lot of the shades are like wrong. The undertones, something's weird
They are
about
wrong.
them. So it's like you
Like,
have
no.
shades that don't actually work.
Like
Yeah.
no human is that shade.
Yeah.
But you know what though? I also feel like they have to market their formula better so that way they, someone like me can trust their product.
Yeah.
Like if I know you for one thing and you bust out like foundation, it's like all these shades. It's gonna take more than shades for me to be intrigued because it's about the formula at the end of the day too.
Yeah.
You know, because I can mix foundations, but like, what's the formula talking about?
Yeah.
Although I will say, I got a sample of the Jouer foundation, like all those shades. They have like 80 shades or something crazy. It's nice. It's really nice.
I haven't tried it yet.
It's comparable to, I don't know the name. It's like hyaluronic matte longwear or something or another. But you know how the Nars All Day Luminous, it's like really, really silky one pump foundation, but it's like full coverage.
Yeah.
But something about it dries down too hard if you do too much.
Yeah.
And it looks kind of like crazy.
Yeah.
This one, because I think of the hyaluronic acid in it, plumps the skin and smooths the surface, so you can get the full coverage without it looking makeup-y. And I like the little samples because it has an applicator.
Yeah.
So I'm using it like a concealer, you know.
Jouer.
Jouer, yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be like a link at the bottom with all the products.
I know.
I know,
Right?
I'm like,
yes,
'cause I need to
I
go
always
back
have
too.
like show notes, so
Okay.
I'll have everything like
Oh, cool.
summarized. So I have a bit of individual questions. So Mimi, you were just featured on Days Beauty.
Congrats.
It was amazing. And what I found was most interesting, and what I love about you is that they highlighted you not really conforming to normal beauty standards and just having your own style, your individuality, and like, can you shed a little bit more light on that interview and like your current like stance in beauty?
Okay, so it's kind of like still fresh on my mind, which helps. I mean, I'm somebody, I don't like obviously wear a lot of makeup. I even put concealer on today for you. I didn't have it on like 2 hours ago. But
You didn't have to, by the way.
No, I know. But no, I just feel that, obviously I hate like I'm preaching, but I like the person's face to show through. I don't want to feel like I'm hiding elements of like what somebody really looks like or who they really are. I still want there to be like an essence of them being real. And I feel that there is, I don't know, a little bit of like a trend of like a mask kind of going around, and I just refuse to kind of conform to that, to the point where I've like lost clients because of it, because they will just like hire me to obviously do that, and I'm just like, can't do it. Like, there are so many other makeup artists that would do that. Don't hire me if you know that I'm not really into that.
Yeah.
So and I stand by that, because I just feel like that's, you know, that's like how I don't know, that's my interpretation of what I think makeup should be like. I don't know what to say. Yeah, no, but that's, and like they basically interviewed me on those things about me not conforming to beauty standards.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you, Fatima, I know that you are sometimes a little bit shy about this, but Fatima has worked with Glossier on their product development, which is an amazing
So
feat,
huge. Yes.
like amazing,
So
because
huge.
I think that it's for them as a brand, like they get 100 more points from me because you actually went to a working woman of color to expand your range of color. You're not just like on Instagram or, you know, going to people that really are not using the shades.
Right.
So can you tell us more about that experience and, you know, how that has changed your perspective in terms of like even using makeup? Because we as makeup artists, we're playing with it, but we're not really in the process of like what it takes to make it.
So yeah, the relationship with me and Glossier has been great. I've been working with them for almost 2 years now, and it's funny like how I got that, because another makeup artist actually recommended me to the people at the company, and so when they came to me about the idea of working with them as like a consultant, I was like, all right, this is cool. Like, you know, I didn't really think much about it because I just really saw myself as just a makeup artist, really. So I had never really thought about product development. And when they brought me in, they wanted to do an extension on all the complexion products. So like the concealer, the skin tint, because they only had 5 shades at the time. So they wanted to increase to 10 shades. So they had me come into the office, and like usually with product development, really and truly.
Spill the tea.
I'm like, now. But there's these things called like benchmarks. So with benchmarks, it's makeup from all different companies, and you're kind of trying to figure out like the formula of the skin tint, like all of the formulas for the product they already had. I was just strictly working with them on the color range.
Mm-hmm.
So the formula was made, but also too, like what I also learned about working in product development, it's only so much that they can do in the lab as far as certain pigments. So now I understand a lot of times when brands kind of get screamed on for like not having certain colors, it's actually really hard, and like the chemists in the lab will tell you it's only so much they can do with like pulling out a white or a black and like all of these different things and reds and yellows and pigments. Is only so much by law I think that they can do into each formula. So I think that sometimes plays into like the colors. I mean, we're all different, so like no matter what brand you are, you're not gonna like nail it, right? Like you can try to get close, get a nice range, but you won't nail it as far as getting all of the shades for for everyone. But yeah, they had me going with them to a factory in Milan. We also worked in a factory in Toronto. And yeah, it was just a dope experience. Like I was shocked that they brought me on.
I wasn't shocked.
I mean, I was shocked, but like now I'm honestly like, it was such a great like collaboration between me and the brand, because Glossier's aesthetic is like very natural and like having just your beauty shine within. It's not about like covering up, and that's also kind of my aesthetic behind makeup too. Like I do very natural, glowy, like pretty makeup. Like that's me.
Yeah.
That's what I like to do. So when it first happened, I was just like like cool, but once I got like time to think about it, I was like, this actually was a perfect brand for me to work with, because I actually use the stuff. And it's not for everybody, especially it's like if you're a person who likes full coverage or anything like that. But they have a market, and it's a market that's working very well for them, because they're a very like pretty new company and they're doing extremely well. So
I love the stretch concealer.
Yeah, I'm like I'm super happy that I get to work with them.
And this kind of just sets you up for whatever other opportunities might come to you in the future now that you have that experience.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So you, Alana.
See.
So now that your client is on Project Runway, that takes as we're all freelancers, we're running around doing makeup for people and stuff, but being on a TV show and having your makeup seen every single week is a next level. And I'm sure it's like your heart is sometimes pumping like,
I know
what is going on? So tell me about your experience having your makeup and seeing your makeup on Project Runway on TV. Did you cry? Tell us the truth.
Did I cry? I'm a person who suffers from perpetual secondhand embarrassment. So I was like really, really nervous about like the first episode airing, and just I lost hella sleep. Like I don't know how it's going to damn look. Even though I was that person that did not move away from the monitor, when they were recording.
Yeah.
You can't step in for touch-ups either.
Yeah.
Like hardly. It's very limited. But rewind. Elaine became my client last Fashion Week, September Fashion Week, and we worked really well together, and so well in fact she was like, I don't know, I might have a TV project coming up, and people always say like,
They always have something in the works.
I got something in the works. A lot of the time it falls through, so you're like, okay,
yeah,
all right. And then I got an email about Project Runway, and I was like, and Elaine submitted my name for makeup, and didn't submit anyone else for for who she wanted. So it was a star request, which I learned what that was, because it's a union show. And
do you mind telling our listeners what star requests?
So star request is if it's a union production and someone who's considered a star or one of the featured people on the show, when they're selecting their glam team, that person may not be in the union, but upon their request, you may bypass some of those requirements, so that to get you on the production with them, because it's according to them it's dire, like they have to have this person on their team in order for this production to move forward, kind of situation. But I said what I said. Yeah, basically.
Well, that's amazing having her fight for you, because we know how important that is.
Bro, it's like really, really meaningful, and I still always think about it every single day, like how important it is to have people that are genuine, number one, and then people who advocate for you, not to your face, but actually behind the scenes where it counts, you know, that will possibly take you to the next level, you know, and someone like me who's been freelance for a long time and who has, you know, had hella different phases in this freelance life, that was just like, whoa, what is this? You know what I mean? So the production was really fun. And I like everybody on the show. The whole cast was really, really cool. All the judges are nice. It was a great experience. It was my first TV experience.
Yeah.
And it was a pleasant one. You know, I wasn't sure what I was walking into. But yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Elaine is great. The show's great. Tune in Thursdays, 8 p.m. on Bravo.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about, did you guys see when the article with the cut? The cut came out. Did you see the article with the cut? They had a discussion about being black in fashion. The person that interviewed, I can't remember their name right now, they interviewed over 100 people that's in the industry, just talking about the experiences of people
I think
of
that
color.
actually was Lindsay.
Yeah.
Lindsay's article.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who's now there. So that's how.
So that's the
did that.
same person you did for the Met.
That was her article. She used to work at the Cut.
Full circle.
Did that.
Yeah.
So I pulled out a few of the quotes because I feel as though there were a few makeup artists they actually interviewed for that project. And, well, I know the project was like an article. But I just wanted to, like, say a few. I don't want to say all of them, but I'm going to say a few, and, like, we can probably just kind of discuss it because I think that is important that we continue the conversation because sometimes it's just a conversation and then nothing happens.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we talk about it and then what?
Right.
So the first one is, let me put my glasses. People always ask if my glasses are real. I'm like,
But they're cute.
thanks,
It's 'cause
Warby
they're-
Parker.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I love Warby. I
Yeah.
actually broke my glasses on my way here.
Dang.
That's why I have my contacts in. I literally stepped on them before I
Stepped on them.
Yeah, my Warby Parker
RP,
glasses that I love. I know.
glasses. Are they still in style though? Because you know they retire styles. Which is the only thing I don't
So
like
like
about
the
them.
thing, they're not like broke, but the what do you call it? The lens popped out. So I can get them fixed, but like I couldn't
okay.
wear them here today. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this quote is from Chucky Amos, and we all know him. He's a celebrity hairstylist, and he says, "I was one of the first black hairdressers to do hair in Europe and for European magazines and make a name for myself. When I saw other black kids coming into the industry later on, I didn't feel as special or exclusive anymore, which was a weird feeling. It's as if you don't want." It's as if you want to be the only adored black child in this club that nobody gets into.
Wow.
Yeesh.
I love the honesty.
Yeah, I mean, at least he was
It's
candid.
honest.
Yeah,
like
I
it's
love the
candid
honesty.
because I feel as though I'm sure we may or may not have had those feelings before, but I don't think that is something that people actually verbalize.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say the other one. This one is actually from this one was anonymous, I believe. They said when you're working your way up the ranks and building your resume, you want to think that other black women around you support you and want to see you win. But it's a mean girls clique. You crave community and want to bond over the crazy things that people say to us. But once we do black girl magic it up, we have a hard time being happy for other women of color. It shattered me when I got jobs and black women were not happy for me. And the last one that I want to actually I have two more to read. We're trained and conditioned that there can only be one. So you see other black women as being in direct competition with you instead of thinking, you know what, let me go talk to her and maybe we can help each other out. And also the last one is from Sir John. He says, for me, social media has been everyone's saving grace. It means everything's democratic now. It's the power to be your own fashion director, casting director. It's the power to say this is cool, this is not. If we were waiting for fashion to do it, we'd still be waiting.
Big facts.
So what are you guys' thoughts on those quotes and what was said? Because I feel as though we always have this conversation of being black in the industry and like how can we help support other artists, and like what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, I think I agree with, you know, I think all of those statements are like super powerful and very real. And as far as the statement that Chuck made about like wanting to be the only like black adored, person and whatever, I think for, even now, I think there's more of us, more black people in the industry now, but like Chuck is he's been in the business for a long time. So I think for somebody like him, it's just rare it was just rare to have black people in fashion. So it's like when you do make it in, like you're in this different world and, you're kind of the only one. So I could see how feeling like you're that special person.
Yeah.
How it made you feel. But also too, like, when new people come in, so for me, I definitely have been the only black person on many sets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, I'm never surprised.
Yeah.
Sadly, I'm never surprised by that. But it's just like something that you become used to. But for me, I've never wanted to be the only person on the black person on set. Like I'm all about supporting people.
Yeah.
And even from the very beginning, when I first moved to New York and I started meeting people, there's a lot of people I know who came from my hometown, New Orleans, like Janae, Pierre, all these other girls.
Yeah.
They work in the beauty industry with me, and like I was here first. So when they moved here, they asked me any questions. I was like, I had no problem giving out any kind of information.
Yeah.
Especially luckily for me, I met not a lot, but I met some decent people like towards the very start of like my career here in New York. People who looked out for me who didn't know me from anything. So I was just like, if people could do that for me, I could do it for people too.
Yeah.
So like that's always been my approach as far as like referring people for jobs. And if I can't make the money, I want one of my friends to go make it. Like I don't care. Like this is all it's like a huge system. So. Like one day you're here, like one day you're the person, and the next day it could be somebody else. So like, don't get so attached to like, this is my client. I don't want anybody else doing it. Like spread the wealth, basically.
Yeah. I love that. Alana.
Yeah, no, I'd never been that person either. That's like, who felt special by being. Tokenism is toxic.
Yeah.
So I've never been that person that prided myself being a token. I always want to see other black people win, especially black women in particular, which I still feel like is a problem within our industry that we're often overlooked, especially in hair and makeup.
Yeah.
And all of it.
Everything.
All of it.
Like there's, we don't get any love. We don't really get any recognition, and the people who do have meteoric rises within this industry are typically male. So I'm always happy when I see other black people on set, even though that's still rare.
Yeah.
But I'm always happy, and I want to convene. I want to know where they come.
Right, and
from.
I want to chat.
I see you.
Yeah.
I want to piggyback off of what Alana's saying. Like I've been on sets too, where sometimes like it was me and another other black person, and like they wouldn't talk to me. Like you could tell, like, I could almost feel the energy of them like purposely staying away from me. Like they don't want to have a conversation with me, and I'm just like, well, okay.
Right,
I felt that too.
Yeah, I felt it on many sets too, and I think the thing with pitting us against each other is, I feel like sometimes they're very cautious about what kind of black people they bring into these spaces, because if you're going to bring in a real one, I'm putting all my people on.
Hello.
And I have no problem saying that.
Hello.
Like I have no problem saying like if you're going to put me in a place where I can help other people I know, black people, then that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and to be fair, I have a sister on a set with Chucky. He probably doesn't even remember me, but he was actually really, 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 really nice and sweet. Chucky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was really, really nice and sweet or whatever. I mean, I don't know what it's like to. I don't know what it's like to we're much younger than him or whatever, and I could see how one could get caught up in thinking that way. So I'm not saying like he's when I say tokenism is toxic.
I just thought that the statement itself was very real.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's something that nobody
people
else
do need to face that.
Nobody else would say that. So
they do need to say
that. Do that way anymore, it's nice to see the honesty in the article.
People do need to face that and address it head on. Why do you feel this? If for the people who do feel like they have to be the only one, why do they feel that way?
Exactly.
And I feel like I hate those kind of corporate type of politics seep into our world, even though racism is everywhere, you know. But when they seep into our world like that, that's like a more of like a corporate thing. You know what I mean? That you're trying to climb a ladder. There is no real ladder in our world. You know what I mean?
There's no structure in this business.
You can get to the top of the ladder and you just boop right
Yeah.
back down.
No
to the
structure
bottom.
in
And
this
some people's
business.
ladders are different.
And like, you know, those extending ladders, like you might think you're to the top and then you're like, oops, actually.
Yeah, and people have different levels. People have different aspirations, so it's a lot different. So it's really annoying when people do take that kind of approach. You know what I mean? And there's definitely room for everyone. There's multiple people out here thriving who are non-black. So how come it can't? Why is it to be limited when it comes
So true.
to us? Why are you putting limits on yourself, on people who look like you?
Exactly.
That's what I want to know.
And Mimi, I wanted to touch on the fact that I know you spent, just so our listeners know, you spent the first few years of your career in Paris.
Yeah.
And so I know the experience there might have been very different to what you've experienced here. So can you touch a little bit on, you know, what was your experience like there and how you would compare it to New York City?
So New York definitely has a lot more makeup artists of color. 100% out of like London, out of Paris, like New York has a lot, considering there are still not enough.
Right.
But Paris is like, it's a rarity. It's like, it's really bad. And like, even when we were there, obviously in February, I met up with another 2 makeup artists from Paris, and they were just saying it's still the same. Like, I'd assume this was like 4 years ago that I lived there, that it would have obviously changed significantly since then. And they were just like, no, it's still the same. You're kind of still, you're not given any opportunities. Like, obviously Paris, I'm going to speak about Paris because that's where I lived, but the how Paris is set up in regards to like race kind of trickles down in all industries, so it doesn't surprise me that it's like that, obviously, in the fashion industry in Paris. But London's like not as bad as Paris, but I would say I feel like just in general we have a lot of progression to still make, and it's quite sad. It's quite sad that we're still here having this conversation.
Yeah. So my next question, I wanted to talk about, I know you just touched on Fashion Week. How do you guys think the industry has evolved specifically when it comes to Fashion Week in New York and internationally? So like Fatima said before, we have all, I'm sure, experienced being the only black makeup artist on set and backstage or whatever it is. And sometimes the thing is, we have these conversations amongst ourselves. They're never recorded. So let me be clear. The thing is that sometimes we might just be standing there and a black model will just come to us because they feel safe and they feel comfortable. So I think sometimes, you know, I'm not saying that I know this for sure, but I'm sure sometimes, you know, other makeup artists may feel offended because not, you know, some of them could be very good at doing makeup on people of color. Doesn't matter what shade. But as makeup artists of color, sometimes, you know, you get the eye from like 10 feet across the room. They're like, oh, coming. I see you, you know, and like, I'm coming to you. I don't want anybody else to touch me. But now there are so many teams that have more artists of color. I personally think it's getting better. But I wanted to know you guys' view on, you know, we all do Fashion Week in New York and internationally. I know, Fatima, you've done London, Paris, and Milan. Fatima, especially, I know you had an experience years ago that you started working on teams. You don't have to call names if you don't want to. You don't need to. But I want to know, like, your experience, because I think this is the point I want to get across. Sometimes I don't want, not that I don't want, but I want more women of color to get experience, but not because, you know, there are going to be people of color there.
Right.
You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Like, oh, I have black models, so I need a black makeup artist.
no.
You know what I mean?
want
And same vice versa. You know what I mean? So Fatima, can you just let us know about that experience? Because it's been a few years. Like, you're an OG, like, Fashion Week veteran now.
Am I?
Yes, you are.
Don't do
it.
Don't do it.
All right,
Like, I mean, if you close your eyes, I'm sure you could do some Fashion Week makeup. Like,
I mean, I have 2 stories. So there was a makeup artist who I assisted a few years back. We were actually doing I think it was a cover shoot for a magazine, and it was a huge celebrity involved. And, you know, I'm assuming that I was called because this was a black celebrity. So I was just an assistant on the shoot. And, you know, that's fine. Maybe like that was fine with me. You know, I think things are different now, but, you know, me coming into the industry in 2011 in New York, like, it was the thing where you assist. Like, that's how you move and shake in the industry. Like, that's the proper product, you know, protocol. You assist. And I had no problem, but, like, I do remember at some point thinking back to that shoot and was like, I was just here because this was a black celebrity. Like, not because they think, you know, I'm sure you probably think I'm a good makeup artist, but pretty sure if it was maybe like someone else, Indian, white celebrity, I probably would not got the call for the job.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that is annoying because, you know, for me, if I'm getting into the industry, like you said, I just want the experience. It shouldn't really be based on who the talent is in particular. Nice. There's so many talented people in New York. Like, we're in New York.
So
this is where the top of the top come.
I'm not a model, but I'm just like, I'm so proud of like my hair, and I'm not putting any heat. I can't imagine people hands in my hair just like tearing it up.
Well,
I've
actually seen a few of the models like standing up for themselves, which I think is great. Like saying like, no, I don't. I'm not gonna let you do this to my hair, and they should, because, you know, why should their hair have to go through all of these like horrible changes before like one show? Yeah, you know what I mean. So like a lot of the girls, sometimes I do see them standing up for themselves, and I think that's great.
I love that braids actually has been adopted really well on the runways now.
And I love that, but I also kind of feel like that's a bit like lazy.
Do more.
At this point, it's kind of lazy.
I like that they're allowing girls who have signature looks
to keep their
braids, though.
Yeah.
But it's like lazy. A lot of times too, I've noticed on shows, it's just like, oh, the black girls are getting braids again, like, and meanwhile, like other models have all these like beautiful hairstyles. So like that's what I mean. Like I don't think that's cool. Like why are they? Is it because this is what you guys think is easy to do to their hair? Yeah. Let's just put it in cornrows.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's my thing too. It's like it's a wealth of untapped talent of makeup artists and hairstylists that they just refuse. Like I have a different experience with Fashion Week than you and Fatima. Like I actually stopped trying to get on teams because people wouldn't reply to my emails. You know what I mean? So it's like I'll do like 1 or 2 shows a season. You know what I mean? So, and I just found my own way because it was just like, all right, well, y'all. I will figure it out on my own. I don't need to follow protocol because clearly there is an invisible ceiling here, and you can't give me a real rationale as to why I'm not deemed qualified enough for your teams. So I'm going to move on, move around, and continue to be a creative or whatever in this same vein and just figure it out. Yeah. But I have been blessed to work with some really cool people and meet a lot of cool people backstage, like you. But yeah, I still feel like that's because they refuse to acknowledge, and I just feel like black people have to be like, you know,
they say we have to be 10 times better.
Exactly.
Get the same opportunity.
And it's still like, you know, and when you are acknowledged, just like that meme with that monkey that's like this. Yeah. You know, like, okay, well, you know, you did that, but, you know. So it's still like that, you know. I don't really appreciate it. So it's a sore subject for me because it's annoying. It's so many
frustrating.
People, it's very frustrating, and there's so many people who are dying to, you know, just get that experience. And there's no real logical explanation as to why they can't have that, and they can't have that experience
when it's clearly needed. Actually,
and it's actually needed. It's really needed because when we're trained, you know, like when I came up, you know, in MAC or whatever, in its glory days, we had to know how to do all complexions. Yeah. We had to know how to work with all types of people. You know, they had it down to a science where, you know, they had Harvard come in and do like a case study on 5-6 different types of consumers and what kind of style of dress they have, how to recognize them, and all these things. But with us, it was never tailored to like, oh, well, you're a black makeup artist. No, it was like, no, you better know how to do NC15 and NC5, NW, da-da-da-da. The whitest of the whites are the blackest of the black. So why? And even within that system, they were still limiting people and holding people back within that company. You know what I mean?
And not to cut you off, but also too, like, I think, you know, a lot of the older people who may still work in fashion, like, it's kind of still relatively new to have as many black models as we have in shows now. Like, you know what I mean? So I think when a lot of people started complaining, like, I'm doing these shows, they don't know how to do my makeup, it's because most of the models are white on all the shows. You may have like a Naomi or somebody like sprinkled in.
Who has her own makeup artist anyways?
Yeah, right. I'm saying, so it's like there never used to be tons of black models in these shows in the first place. So I think once they started to come in, they were like, oh shit, because now y'all realize y'all don't work on black people, so now it's kind of a problem, kind of thing.
Right. Well, it's just really annoying though.
It is.
Because there's no logical explanation. There's no survey or test or exam, like it's no SAT or anything where it's like, oh well, actually you got a 750, so you can't get into this university. It's not like that. It's not like that. So yeah.
Oh man,
that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Mimi, any words?
No, I completely agree with all of you guys.
Okay, cool. So I actually had I gave the opportunity to a few of our listeners to ask a few questions. It's something that we're going to be incorporating into future episodes, to ask some questions beforehand. And LB Charles asks, how do you guys feel on set when you're the only person of color, but not only that, but as a lead, as a key? This was not from her, but we were both discussing a story about a makeup artist that we knew. She arrived on set and they were just like, oh, are you one of the extras? And was kind of like shooing her away.
Wow.
And she was actually the lead makeup artist. Mm-hmm. So, right.
I'm so happy I'm not in those situations because I'm just so honest that I would probably just lose my mind. It's really bad. I just can't. I smoke way too much weed to like pretend.
You just like strobe all the tables. Like, what? Right. And like even for me, like sometimes people are like, are you the model? Which is like, oh, cute, I'll laugh it off. Like, no, I'm not the model. Like, no, I came to do the makeup. Like, I'm here to work. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm so short and small, people think I'm a little girl. Mm-hmm. But I'm grown.
Do you know what's so funny you saying that? Because I've never actually had that scenario, but like I was one of the very few times I've assisted since I've been in New York. But this woman basically, long story short, get on set. I'm on set. I arrive before the person I'm assisting. She arrives and she walks straight past me. She's a Korean lady. Not obviously gonna say her name. She starts setting up, and then is kind of looking around because she knows that I'm here, because I've obviously texted saying that I'm here. And then I guess she kind of pans, realizes that everybody else that's around her has their jobs, and she's like, you're the only person that looks like don't really know what you're doing. So she comes in and she's like, oh, are you Mimi? And I'm just like, yeah. And she kind of smiles awkwardly and then walks back off. And I was just like, interesting, okay. So I'm just standing there like, what do I do? This is a bit awkward. And then, so I just assumed that I just probably should go and set up next to her. So I started doing that. And it wasn't until like 15, 20 minutes later where like standing, getting ready to do makeup, and she was just like, I thought you were Japanese. And I laughed. I was like, I don't understand where you would have got that from. And then she explained to me that because her agent basically was the one that had given her a list of different makeup artists that she could select for the shoot that she needed. And she saw my surname. My surname isn't Japanese, but it's, as you Quiquine, she was like, oh, it sounds Japanese. And then Mimi, obviously, there's a lot of Japanese girls called Mimi. Mm-hmm. So she picked me based on thinking my name was Japanese. Wow. And then hired me based on that. I'm like, wow. But then hired me because of that. Didn't look at my work, didn't like look at anything, just looked at the name. So then said that to me, and I obviously laughed, but didn't obviously know what to say to that. I was like, okay, well, obviously I'm not. And then instead of kind of like accepting, okay, cool, I've made a mistake, let me kind of move on with it, she then proceeded to like hover over me over the first like few looks that we were doing, because she wasn't sure I was able to like obviously follow through and do the makeup, because she was like, okay, fuck, now you're here, am I sure that you're actually a talented makeup artist? And was just like, oh, just like make sure that you're not too heavy with the foundation, can you make sure that you don't do this? And I was just like, can you just let me do my job? Can you just chill?
Honestly, like, not to cut you guys off, but like
we having a discussion.
But like that's the thing too. Like sometimes when you show up on these jobs and they see that you are the black person, they automatically go into assuming that you do like super heavy makeup, and it's like, guys, I work in the same field as you. Like, I know what I'm doing. Thank you.
Yeah,
I got here somehow.
Like everybody walk past you and not greet you at all. Like greet everyone around you except for you.
And I think it's not even just like things like that, but like usually I have really extremely long braids, you know, and like sometimes people, they just don't know what to say. They're like, oh my God, my friend has dreads too. And I'm like,
I can't do it. When people say something, I'm just like,
what?
Cute.
I'm just gonna walk off.
Yeah, but like for me now, and the bad thing about this is that we're so conditioned to it now,
to
like
accept it and
to accept it. You know what I mean?
Just like brush
And,
it off, like, oh, you're stupid.
Yeah, like
okay.
yeah, and I just like I don't even care. But
I
like
can't.
it's just like, do people stop and think sometimes of like what are they saying?
They don't.
Like
No.
you know what
Half
I
the
mean?
time I feel like people genuinely think that they're being cool. And
Yeah, I'm
actually
saying
trying to,
sometimes I
like,
really don't think they mean any harm in it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
still,
like,
right?
Yeah, like, but like, why do we even need to talk about? Like,
Yeah.
maybe you think it's cool, that's fine. Like, I can tell the difference between a compliment or you just like come in to touch my hair or
Yeah.
like things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I even think sometimes I was on a shoot and like the words "yes, queen,"
Oh, Lord.
and like I'm a Caribbean woman. Obviously, I live in New York now, so
Yeah.
I'll say those things, I'll comment those things, but that's not necessarily how I speak.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So like, you don't need to say those things to me in order for us
to relate.
To communicate.
relate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're from London,
Yeah.
you're New Orleans. Like everybody doesn't really like conform to what you think.
Right,
are
we're
black
all different.
stereotypes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's we're not a monolith,
yeah.
and they don't understand that at all. But I really, going back to the whole being the only black person on the set thing, like so many times I've been the only makeup artist there, and it's like you just feel like, you know, the respect level's not there. It's not where it needs to be. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like not being greeted properly, everyone talking around you, you know, not even going over the creative,
Yeah.
like that kind of thing. Like those things I pay attention to. I can't really do anything about it but assert myself.
Yes.
And you know,
Assert
so
yourself.
if someone is
Absolutely.
goes out of their way to not acknowledge my existence,
Hey.
I'm like,
Hello.
hi, how are you? Yes, yes. And you are.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I'm the producer, the production manager.
Sure
You booked
did.
me, idiot.
Yeah.
You booked me,
Yeah.
but you won't speak to me.
Yeah.
Make that make sense.
Oh gosh. Okay, so another question from one of our viewers, Jonay actually, asks, do you feel a sense of sisterhood from other women of color in the industry? Like, I see you and I got your back.
Most
Yes
of
and
Yeah.
no.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know everybody. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like that's my thing. But you know, how long have I known you, Fatima?
I
Since
don't know.
2011 or 2012?
wow.
Yeah, it's
long.
been it's been like at least over 5 years for
When-
sure.
Of course.
I don't know.
It's
I don't
2019.
I don't even remember which year.
Of course. But like
It is 2019.
That's like,
we met on Instagram.
Yeah,
Instagram
we met on
first-
Instagram.
When Instagram first popped off and like the makeup community first like started to form. Me and Fatima became friends via Instagram,
And we
then
met at the makeup show
we
for
met
the
at
first
the makeup
time.
show
Oh,
in
that's
2012. So yes,
Yeah.
it was 2000.
So I don't remember which year
It's your
actually.
life.
So it's been a long time.
No, and yeah, so I mean, I've definitely formed bonds with other people, but I'm also still in the process of getting to know other people because
Yeah.
I don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't go to things.
Yeah.
Like
Same.
I go to work, I go home,
Yeah.
I watch Netflix, I Uber Eats.
yeah.
And that's not a way to. It's not a real way to live. It's not fulfilling.
I mean,
lot
you
of us
work
live
hard,
like that.
so
yeah, but I'm
that's your
trying to
play
I'm trying
hard.
to maximize too. You know, I want to meet people.
Yeah, I'm trying to get better about that
I'm
as
trying
well.
to get better, you know, because I do think there is a value in having a real community and not just being superficial.
yeah.
Not saying it, not being fake empowerment and,
Yes.
and being crazy behind the scenes, actually meaning it.
Yeah.
How did we? Do you remember how we met, Mimi? No, I
You
can't
met
remember.
with I think so.
Did we? No.
Really?
No.
It must be.
I don't feel like that.
What else could it have been?
I know. It's like you don't even remember like how you meet people sometimes.
How did
You
we
just
meet?
Backstage at Katie's.
Oh,
For Libertine.
Libertine.
Oh,
And then we
okay.
did it for a few seasons.
I don't forget.
Yes. Okay,
I
cool.
have terrible memories.
I
so.
know. You said 5 years. Let's talk about how you said 5 years.
I'm like, I know it's been over 5 years.
I can't.
Okay, so Lee Will has. Do you guys know Lee?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't. He was actually at the show in Paris that we did with all the.
Oh, right. I know. I remember his
Can't say too
face.
much.
Yes, but I
Right.
don't know him.
Yeah, he was there briefly. So Lee says, what steps we can take to make sure more of us are in the room.
For me, like
Supporting each other.
supporting each other. Also, like I don't have assistants. I just call on friends to help.
Yeah.
You know, so I just feel like having friends on set, working together, and then the next time I'm working with that client, I can't work with them. I'm like, hey, you want to work with them? And then I refer them. They're already familiar because they were on set with me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's a real sustainable way to actually put money in other people's pockets, and paying it forward. Referrals, featuring other people's work, posting about it, bragging on your
just
friends.
a little Instagram story, like, I see you.
Yeah, bragging on your friends.
Definitely.
It means more in our community, I feel like, because people do need to see.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, because being a makeup artist can be a very, like, lonely journey. Sometimes you do a great thing, and you don't even recognize it. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, well, maybe it was okay. Like, you know what I mean? And sometimes your friends have to be like, no, girl, that was wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. We all need those friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I often think about that. There's so many ways to approach that. Maybe, doing some more collaborative things where, finding a photographer, finding more than one makeup artist, putting something together. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. Yeah. But I definitely feel like there's ways to make that happen and actually see it grow legs and have other people experience the same things that we're experiencing that are trying to get into that same thing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So, I know you said you don't really have assistants, but maybe our listeners, I know we have a few in New York. If any of them were interested in assisting any one of you, what would be the best way to go about doing that?
I mean, email me. But usually I feel like most of the jobs I work on, I don't really feel like I have the need for assistance. I don't know if I'm like at that level yet, but I've definitely had jobs where I like needed people to help me, but I don't think they come as often. Yeah. But like Alana said, usually if I need help, I go to one of my friends first, because like I need to make sure I'm also going to somebody who I know who's got me. I'm like,
won't freak out.
I'm like, I just need to know they got my back.
Who won't pull a fast one? Like it didn't happen to me, but I'll never forget. I was working on a shoot, and the stylist, who I'm also cool with, she had a stylist assistant she never worked with before on the set, and he was a fool. Like it was very embarrassing, And I'm like, girl, did you ever work with him before? She was like, this is the first day. No. She's on her hands and knees adjusting pant legs, and he's just standing there singing songs. She's on her hands.
Why didn't she tell him?
I mean, she's trying to do it, with tact, but she also had a job to do. You know what I mean? So she was trying to direct them, but it's just like exactly. But I've seen those kind of things, so I mean,
yeah. It's like sometimes it's like too risky, right? Like depending on what the job was, if it was like something smaller and I needed help, then I'd be okay with using like a new person or somebody I've never worked with. But usually if it's like a job that I'm like, this is too important, I need to make sure I have somebody with me who can get this done.
Right.
What about you, Mimi? Do you have assistants? If anybody were interested in, do you?
I have assistants. I rotate between like 3 assistants.
Okay.
But I'm kind of in the need of another one. Okay. I had to let one of them go. She so we're talking about bad assistants. She was supposed to, she was meant to do a hair and makeup job. Said she could do it. Turned up to set without anything for hair. And then the client, I left obviously because that's the reason why I brought her on. And then the client basically told me, luckily the client's a friend of mine, she just said, listen, we had to have the model do her own hair because your assistant didn't have any hair stuff.
No.
Yeah. So that was kind of annoying. So I had to let her go because I was just like, you've done too many weird things.
Yeah.
That's so weird. Why?
And word of the wise to like future assistants, like don't say that you know how to do things that you don't know how to do, or you know what I mean? Like don't lie about things because you will be tested on them. So it's like, just be honest. Even when I moved to New York, I actually wanted to learn how to, because at first I was interested in doing a little bit of hair. And one of the first people I actually assisted when I moved here was Lacey Redway. I assisted her on some hair jobs just because I wanted to learn a few tips. But I was very honest about the fact that I was a makeup artist and I was interested, and she was still cool, letting me work on a music video with her. So
that's amazing.
Cool.
So our last question. What has been the best advice you have gotten? And this can be makeup related or non-makeup related. For me, this was years ago when I first started out. I don't know if this might sound bad, but it really stuck with me. One of my friends was like, I was going through some ish with an artist that I was working with, and my friend was like, "You're just starting out. Just stoop to conquer. Just don't try to do the most. Don't backlash. Just do what you have to do, and you'll rise eventually, and you'll get through it. And that stuck with me for many years. And I feel as though sometimes people say things to you that stick with you for a while, even if it's just like use a prolong wear. Do you know Mac discontinued their prolong wear, not prolong wear. What is it? Their Pro Eye makeup remover. The purple remover.
Oh,
just so
you
good.
like that one?
I actually like it because it never left any residue. Yeah, but anyways, so like it might just be a tip with a product or whatever it is. But if you can think,
it's not that deep.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Not that deep.
It's not that deep.
I'm like, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
We'll quote that.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah, go.
I mean, I think for me, just kind of like in this industry, especially in New York too, I think a lot of times you can get caught up with, like, especially now in the day of Instagram, you get caught up just seeing, your mind's like seeing all of this stuff every day, and you don't realize that you'll subconsciously start to like compare or wonder, like, certain opportunities going to other people and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, just focus on you.
Yeah.
Focus on you. You can support other people and focus on yourself. Like, what's for you is for you. That's one of those things I like really believe in.
Yeah.
And also too, like, to just know as a creative, because I don't think it's spoke about enough, is that like we're business people at the end of the day.
Yes.
And like that's something I'm trying to work on more. It's like not just thinking just of the creative side. At the end of the day, this is how I literally like make my money to like pay my bills. Like this is not a game. So it's like you really need to know how to be a creative / business person.
Or hire somebody that can do the business for you.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Love that. And what about you, Alana?
I agree with both of those things. So I'm going to say those two things. Plus, I've spent a lot of time in the retail world. I mean, as much as I look back and like, damn, why did I spend that long?
Yeah.
But
how long did you spend?
I started at Benefit in 2003 in college, and then I finished at Mac in 2011. It was like 8 years, and it's like your life goes by really, really fast, and you're like, you just think about things. But retail world definitely has a lot of gems to offer, and I would definitely say, in this freelance world, customer service still matters.
Yeah.
Approaching things from trying to provide 100% great like customer service to everything you do, whether it's a test, whether it's a do and go or a fashion show or whatever. Put in 100%. Make sure that you listen to the needs of the client. Make sure that need is fulfilled and executed well. You know what I mean? You don't have to have an array of product. You don't have to have all these fancy brushes. You can have a very limited kit, but if you put in 100% and you approach it like a customer client point of view, you will definitely succeed.
Yeah. I think just to add to that, a lot of people, because of Instagram and social media, they just want to come up really quick. And I think that you don't have to do retail, but I feel like you can learn so much in that space. And it's something that is kind of overlooked now because, retail space is changing. It's not what it used to be.
Right.
But I do really cherish the time that I spent in retail.
Same.
So,
yep. Nordstrom, man. Nordstrom, they drill. Like, they're the ones that showed me the importance of writing thank you notes by hand. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like those kind of things people really appreciate. And it can take you a long way. It can take you far being thoughtful and following up with people, even if it was like a small transaction, small interaction.
Yeah.
So with that said, we are going to wrap up this episode. I want to thank these 3 amazing artists. I will have all their information in the show notes and also on our Instagram page. So if you want to connect with them, which would be the best way to connect with you on Instagram?
Number one, thank you for having me.
Of course.
But on Instagram, it's at Alana Wright Makeup, ALANAWRIGHT Makeup.
I follow you.
Do you?
That's so funny. I guess I've just never seen what your face looks like.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, let me.
That's hilarious.
That's exactly what the point of this whole
Let me fix this.
Because
Right
when you said
now.
Alana, I was like, I wonder. And then you carried on with the rest of it. I was like, oh, it is.
Oh shoot, girl.
That's hilarious.
Girl. How do we get in contact with you guys?
What about you, Fatima?
You can find me on Instagram at my name.
Spell
Which
it.
is-
It's
it for the people.
FATIMOTIISADARE. Follow me.
And what about you, Mimi?
You can find me on Instagram as well. At Mimi Quiquine, MIMIQUIQUINE.
I love your name.
I love that name too.
Thank
Quiquine.
Thank you.
And of course, you can follow us at The Life of a Makeup Artist on Instagram. And you can find our show on iTunes, Google Play, and Anchor.
Out here.
And also, we have a Facebook page, so you can join that as well to ask questions. But before we get off the episode, I have handwritten notes for you guys.
Oh my God! What are we just talking
So
about?
this is for you, Alanta.
Thank you.
And this is for you as well.
So cute.
Oh, I've been wanting to try this.
This is for you. Yes,
What
this
is
is
this?
from a
Thank
brand.
you so much.
What is
So
it?
the brand is called Refer, and this is Fatima's.
Thank you.
So cute.
And they are a new brush company. They're Japanese. They're based in Canada. I actually just interviewed him. And he has these brush sets that he has been giving out. So they're full brush sets. This is all the
Look at
brushes
me.
they have
these
right
are
now.
so-
They are amazing. I've only tried a few of them. I haven't actually tried all of them. They're made in the town of Komono, where Hakuhodo and all those brushes
Oh,
are
you
made.
know, let me some.
So-
But I'm gonna love this
Thank
too.
you so
Thank
much.
you. I know.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so
Brushes?
much. For this.
I know.
This
Yeah,
is a
this-
good one.
This is the one I know.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not like one.
You didn't see all the brushes right there?
I was just like, it's gonna work so perfectly.
I'm like, no
Definitely.
brushes?
Yeah.
That's good.
Whoa! Wow!
Yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
guys.
You're
And
welcome.
we will see you in the next episode.
Gracias.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Yay.
girl. What?